I read Wikipedia's today's featured article. The Bat. The Bat is a 3-act comedy mystery play by Mary Roberts Reinhardt and Avery Hopwood that was first produced by Lincoln Wagenhals and Colin Kemper. The play opened on Broadway on August 23, 1920, at a rented summer home. Cornelia Van Gorder and guests search for stolen money while being stalked by a masked criminal known as the Bat. The play originated as an adaptation of Reinhardt's 1908 mystery novel, The Circular Staircase. It was a critical and commercial success, running for 867 performances in New York and 327 in London, with tours by several road companies. It was revived twice on Broadway in 1937 and 1953. It had several adaptations, including a 1926 novelization credited to Reinhardt and Hopwood, but ghostwritten by Stephen Vincent Benet. 3 film adaptations were produced: The Bat, 1926, The Bat Whispers, 1930, and The Bat, 1959. The play and its adaptations inspired other comedy mysteries with similar settings and influenced the creation of the comic book hero Batman. And this is the plot. Elderly single Cornelia Van Gorder is renting an old, isolated Long Island mansion owned by the estate of Curtly Fleming, a bank president who had reportedly died several months before. On a stormy evening, the electricity flickers on and off. Most of the servants, convinced that the house is haunted, have made excuses and fled. According to a news report, a mysterious criminal known as the Bat has eluded police in the area. Cornelia is in the house with her maid Lizzie and Billy, a Japanese butler who is part of Fleming's household staff. They are joined by Brooks, a gardener recently hired by Cornelia's niece, Dale Ogden. Dale and Dr. Wells, the local coroner and old friend of Fleming's, arrive for a visit. They tell Cornelia that Jack Bailey, a cashier at Fleming's bank, has disappeared and is suspected of stealing over $1 million. Cornelia tells Lizzie and Dale that she has invited a police detective to visit because someone has been trying to break into the house at night. Wells leaves and Detective Anderson arrives. Cornelia tells Anderson that she suspects Fleming embezzled from the bank and hid the money in the house. While Cornelia shows Anderson to his room, Dale warns Brooks, who's actually Jack Bailey and Dale's fiancé, that Anderson is a detective. Brooks also believes that Fleming hid the money and wants to clear himself by finding it. Dale summons Fleming's nephew Richard, who went to the house, to Cornelia to learn about possible hiding places. Richard shows a blueprint of the house with a hidden room where the money might be. While they fight over the blueprint, a figure appears in the darkness and shoots Richard, ending the first act. Cornelia calls Dr. Wells back to the house to examine Richard's body. Dale asks Wells to hide the blueprint she took from Richard because the others might think that she killed him for it. Reginald Bresford, a lawyer waiting in his car after he drove Richard to the house, comes inside. Reginald recognizes Jack, and the exposure of her fiancé makes Dale admit that she gave Wells the blueprint with the hidden room. Wells claims that he does not have the blueprint. Cornelia reveals other evidence incriminating him, and Anderson asks to question him alone. Wells knocks Anderson unconscious during the interrogation and drags him into another room. Before Wells can go to the hidden room, a stranger claiming to have lost his memory after he was attacked and tied up in the garage appears at the terrace door. When the guests try to identify the unknown man, they discover that they have been locked in the house. At the end of the second act, Cornelia finds the Bat's calling card, a black paper bat tacked to the door. The third act begins on the upper floor of the house, where a masked man is seen in the previously hidden room taking a money bag from a safe. When Dale finds the room, the man flees, leaving her and the money locked inside. The others find her there unconscious. Anderson reappears and accuses Wells of stealing the money and killing Richard. Cornelia begins to present an alternative theory, but is interrupted when the unknown man comes upstairs and Anderson asks him about his amnesia. Cornelia says that she sees a man on the roof, and most of the group leaves to look for him. Cornelia uses the distraction to tell Dale, Jack, and the unknown man that she thinks the money is still in the room. When they search for the money, Jack finds the body of Courtney Fleming, who was killed only recently. As Cornelia, Dale, and Jack argue about what has happened, the unknown man locks the door and orders them to be quiet. When the masked man sneaks through a window, the unknown man apprehends him and reveals that he, the unknown man, is the real Detective Anderson. The masked man, had pretended to be Anderson. That is great. Talk about a twist. Anyways, this is the end of the plot and the end of I Read Wiki, the Bat.